Please do not make this team ever. Do not even consider making this team, at least to the full extent that I did. Use something else alongside maybe some of these champions, okay? This is one of the easiest teams that you can think of, but nobody would be crazy enough to do it. So that's why I'm on the test server today, guys, showcasing this team. Getting started with the video. What is this video on about? It's demon spawn only team. It's not gonna be just a fire knight special team. It has no legendaries in there, and since I'm on the test server, I went a little bit crazy with the champions I would use in there. It does have one allure in there only, and that's basically because of Fire Knight 25. And then we've got 4 copies of a rare. Let's go and have a look at the team. I'll show the gear in just a bit. The gear is very easy since it's the same on almost everybody except Allure. Allure has the basics of what she needs to work, right? She needs a lot of speed, 100% crit, and accuracy. That's what this Allure has. She does have a little bit more damage. And then we have the 4 Diabolists there. Look at that. Look at the beauty of this team. The 4 Diabolists, the way that they work is what's going to make the team shine, okay? Let's get started. Well, Allure, if you didn't know, if you don't know about Allure, attacks 3 times with random, decrease the turn by 25% on each critical hit. This is what makes her special. She even has a defense down, right? She even can place a sleep debuff, and she's got a single target hit, which this I don't really care about. But we've got Diabolist. This is a farmable rare, by the way. A farmable rare taking over Dungeons 25. She's actually pretty solid. If you ever want to use like 1 copy, fields the turn of all allies by 15%, decreases the turn of all enemies by 15%, a 4 turn cooldown. That's pretty long, and that's why we've got 4 of them in there. And then we have attacks all enemies, places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. This is huge, and it's an AoE attack also. So if you are a little bit aware of the game, you know where I'm going with this in terms of the attacks all enemies and the gearing that I've decided to put on the Diabolists. Attacks for enemy has a 10% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn. Let's get going, because this will be a longer run that I would like, right? Just have a look at this. Look at the stuns going in. Of course, they are in stun sets. They do have a good amount of speed, which this allows me to have this rotation going. Every single one of the Diabolists, like have a look at them. They're getting their turns in, and eventually they land a stun. None of them has the mastery for that extra 5% chance to stun. Just the sheer amount of attacks, eventually, look at that, eventually a stun from one of the Diabolists will land. I know it's not a 100% perfect strategy. The gear that I have on them is a little bit unreasonable, and the speed that they clear it is also slower than the majority of teams out there, but it is a fun team to make. Just have a look at just the enemies not being able to actually touch me, and this works for faction wars also. We'll have a look at that after this one. So it works better on 25, on Fire Knight 25, by the way, than it works on Fire Knight 20. Fire Knight 20, every single one of the champions I have, Diabolist and Allure, they're weak affinity, which means they have a chance for a weak hit. I don't really care about that for the stun set, because the stun sets don't care about weak hits, but I do care about the decreasing of turn meter and also the AoE attack in terms of the damage, right? I believe the decreasing turn meter can land, but it's the Allures not landing it through the A1, because they need to crit, and if it's a weak hit, they can't crit. And the Allure really is in control of turn meter. She really makes this, easier. I tried it with 5 Diabolists. The waves are okay. You just go through, you eventually stun everything, and there's no chance of anything bad happening. All right, so 2 minutes for wave 1. It's gonna be another 2 minutes for wave 2. But then the boss, it's just a little bit of the same. You just keep the turn meter down. The increased speed works great. The fill of turn meter works so well all the time. I do have some refresh accessories, which you do get from the tag team arenas. And yeah, let's look at that. The stun set really showed the power of crowd control in those later dungeons. If the speed of clearing it's not something you care about, then having more control is what gets you through. And this works for all the PvE content mostly in the game, except for maybe the boss fights, right? Any kind of situation where you can crowd control them. So I'm specifically talking about, higher end dungeons, faction wars, Doom Tower. If you can control them in any way, which I'm not doing so well right now. There's only one stun that's landed, right? That's 3 stuns. Can we land on that Nethril? That Nethril looks, it's gonna attack me, and that's gonna hurt. But he might be a weak hit. Who knows? Okay, we controlled him a little bit. Can we get a stun on that Nethril? This is gonna be tricky. Oh, there it is. Okay, it landed. That was a bit stressful. So, what was I saying? Yeah, crowd control works very well. By the way, cheers. Having my cold brew right now with watching this team. I was having a lot of fun building this team. I wasn't so consistent with videos this week. I was a little bit sick, but I'm better today. I'm better. So thank you for watching, by the way, my videos. I appreciate all of you guys so much. So this is like the team. It's a lot of fun building these teams, and I like when I have the test server to try out these unique scenarios where it doesn't hurt my account to do so, and it's just for the view, right? Nobody is recommended to build this, but you do understand the possibilities there with the Diabolist, at least in terms of crowd control. And this specifically works better once we go to Faction War. So I'll let you watch this little bit up until the boss, and then we'll basically go over to the Faction Wars, and I'll show you a little bit of the gearing before that. And that's gonna be it, I guess, for today. But wow, this wave is not dying. They have 0 damage, absolutely 0 damage. It's War Master really doing all the damage there. We've got Phantom Touch on Allure, which is a really nice blessing to have. So Phantom Touch actually works very well here for the Fire Knight boss, because when it procs, it basically reduces it by another number, right? So the shield drops by 1 more number. So here, can we keep the Terminator down? There's Allure. Okay, if Allure hits once, that's pretty much it, because Allure will keep on doing her A1 skill. She'll never do the A2, I believe, or she does it if the Terminator manages to drop by a significant amount. She'll do the A2, which is a decreased defense. But this does take another 2 minutes or so. So the run will be in total like a 3-minute run. But the combination of every single one of the Diabolists and Allures works so well. And we're back. 7 minutes in. It's an alright time for beating the boss. And yeah, would you have a look at that? This team never had the boss touching them, and it did work with them averaging like 1 million damage, I would say, almost, and 2 million for Allure, which is kind of nice. You can't see it because of my big head, but let's go have a look at their gear, and I'll show you them in the Faction Wars. I could show them in the Doom Tower, but they don't really have the accuracy for that. I would need to move around maybe a little bit. So I've got these 5 Diabolists here. Let me show you the Allure first, which is this one with the blessing. She does have good gear, as I said. She's used in my normal team for Fire Knight. 252, 100% crit, 221 crit damage, 359 accuracy. She's got good accuracy for Doom Tower, but the other ones don't. And she has like 5,000 attack, which is nothing actually in the sense of doing damage for a lore, since the multipliers are kind of low. But let's have a look at, well, Diabolist. I guess I'll just have to show you one. And, well, this one's the fastest one. For some reason, I managed to get the best stun gear I had with speed. So look at that, 281 speed, 100% crit, 259 accuracy, 159 crit damage. And masteries are pretty much the same for everybody. The Diabolists have War Master plus support tree for the chance of cycle of magic, extension of their speed up buff, and also Sniper, which I don't think it works with anything that she applies, but maybe I should have done Kill Streak. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Her damage is very minimal, and Diabolists are all maxed out, and they have the same gear, each and every one of them. So the other Diabolist, stun and speed, she's at 237 speed. This one, yep, stun and speed, 241. This one, stun perception, 255 speed. All right, trying to get 100% crit. I'm not even sure which ones I use, but I have all of them in the same thing. So everyone is in the stun. 264 speed with 177 accuracy. That's a little bit lower, but you get the point. They're pretty much built the same way. Let's go into Faction Worlds and have a look at the crypt, and let's see if they open it for me today, because it seems to be closed at the moment. And it's open. There we go. Okay, I've got 24 keys to try this out. Let's go to the demon spawn and we'll have a look at the team. It does work. I've tried it before. It's all about the control, right? This works also. Let me just show you how this does, all right? Let me just show you how this does. It's not the best, all right, for the boss, but it's just so, there's so much control that it's just so annoying. Just look at all the Diabolists. They let them get no turn meter, and then once they start racking up a little bit of turn meter, they keep the stuns going. With all the AoEs that happen, as I said before, it eventually lands a stun. And this works also against the Valkyrie wave. But the boss has an issue. The boss is the one that when you attack it, you have a chance to freeze one of your champions and it's unresistible. So I have to get an allure in there to make it work. If you have any other champions, you might even consider like 1 or 2 Diabolists to fit into your Faction Wars team with this build, with the stun set. They don't need to be level 60. They don't need to have the masteries. That can still be done to them. It's just going to give you a little bit extra damage, right? The masteries. Or the chance to stun more frequently. But you don't need it, right? You can do level 50 Diabolists, which is farmable. And then try and do Faction Wars like I'm doing right now. But let's go and use the Allure team for this one. So let's go in there with the Allure. Allure will basically help us with the boss. The waves, as you saw like a little bit before, are very manageable. And it really makes it much more manageable for the boss with Allure because of how good her A1 skill for turn meter reduction is. If there wasn't that freeze kind of thing on the boss, I could have done this without Allure. And I probably don't even need to have all of them at 60. Like with this build, you can have them, as I said, you can have them at 50. The only thing you get is more damage and a little bit more survivability. So if you don't manage to stun in there, you know, eventually it might happen. So it's not a 100% team. You will get hit and it's gonna hurt a little bit. But the good thing about Faction Wars is that the stats overall that the enemies have, they're not that high, right, as other parts of the game. So you drop the enemies a little bit quicker. The tricky thing is about the Valkyrie waves. It's if they get a turn, if something happens and the Valkyries get a turn, you probably have a bad time if you don't stun the Valkyrie. So if they get the buff there, you're gonna have a bad time. So I would probably just reset here just because of how bad this can be with all the counterattacks and how much longer this can take. But this definitely does work. This time around, it's looking much better. As I said, it's a little bit of the RNG. If you can get a stun on the Valkyries, you stop them from getting that annoying counterattack. And it's working so good, actually. With all these stats, we're looking like a minute 25 for beating the Faction Wars round 2. And it's probably gonna be somewhere along the 3 minutes for the boss. And this is only because we have a lot of damage built on them. So with no damage, it would be longer, but the control would still be there, and you just can get the win, basically. If you're looking for like a Faction Wars 25 team, you only have a lord, you only have the, you know, the energy to farm for lots of Diabolos, you can equip them with the stun sets, get control in, and the allure will help you. But you need a lot of speed, and that will be the most difficult thing for most accounts out there. And it is unfortunate, but if you don't have all that speed, you have, like, let's say 2 allures, that can also work. You see here, I got hit. That can be nasty with a true fear also. But I think now that the 2 ads are down, I can probably get this done. And I should have disabled the A3 on that allure. Maybe only allow the A2. And once you have the defense down, this also goes quicker. And have a look at that. This will be probably a solid run. We just don't want to get a freeze on the allure. So this is what happens with this boss. There's a 20% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the attacker when hit. This debuff cannot be resisted. So this is when you hit the boss, you can get frozen, and that stops you from getting a turn. That's why you need a lot of speed. And it's working better than I thought, like a 3-minute run so far. I do have it on unlimited frames now. I turned it on. I didn't have it before for the other runs, but now I thought it's good to see them be a little bit faster. If you're on PC, this makes the runs quicker. If you're on your phone, the runs will be always slower because phones are not as good as PCs for processing the game. And the better PC you have, the better runs, the faster runs you will have also. So looking like a 3-minute 35, probably. Come on, let's get it. Under 4 minutes. That's the goal. Under 4 minutes. Boom. Allures and Diabolos just rock this boss. Come on, don't get a turn. Don't get a turn. There it is. Okay. Decrease turn. I actually got a resist in there. I don't know how you get a resist with 350 accuracy. That 3%, I guess. So yeah, there it is. Under 4 minutes. Happy about that with the Diabolos and the lore. That's pretty solid, but the gear was crazy. I'm guessing you can do with less gear, but it was just a fun showcase. Guys, if you did enjoy this video, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to see another fun showcase, give me your ideas down below, and yeah, see you in the next one. See ya.